I have 9 o'clock. Okay, it's 9 a.m. I would call to order the weekly meeting of the Logansport Board of Works and Safety. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call. Carol Sue, please.
Franklin.
Here.
Present.
Armstrong. Here.
Approval of minutes, August 9th, 2012.
I've looked them over. Even though I wasn't there, I'd make a motion that we approve the August 9th minutes as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes on a vote of 3-0. Approval of claims, $456,038.90.
I reviewed the claims, and I make a motion that we approve the claims in the amount of $456,038.90 as presented.
Second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the claims in the amount of $456,038.90 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes on a vote of 3-0. Approval of licenses, electrical licenses. Brian Flora.
I'd make a motion we approve the electrician certificate license for Brian Flora as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the license, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It passes on a vote of 3-0 also. Changes to the agenda. Hearing none. Old business. 1728 Michigan Avenue, James and Julia Quigney. I see their son is here. Would you like to come up? Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Daniel Quigney. I am currently retired from the Navy, and I do not have a permanent address at this time.
Okay. Mr. Quigney, I understand that you're here today representing your folks.
I would like to think so, sir.
Okay, and that's you are the son of James and Julia Quigney?
I am.
Okay. Could you give us an update on our conversation earlier this week, like on Monday?
The update that I have right now is if you were to drive by the house, the backyard has been totally cleaned. The back lot takes a little more time. The tree is obviously going to take a little more time.
Okay. And
You can only do so much in so many hours.
I understand. And during the course of our conversation on Monday, you had indicated that you could get the entire property cleaned up in 1 week if we gave you an additional week?
I could try. That's the best I can do. But
Okay.
I will try.
I appreciate your service to the country and your time in the Navy. And I understand, had you been closer to town, closer to Logansport, you were on the West Coast, that you would certainly have been more willing and been able to help your folks more than you have. I understand time and distance. I do appreciate you volunteering to help them get along and help improve the city, improve the appearance of the city. You know, it's memorable, our conversation, when you talk about how the city had changed in the last 20 years and how it's really gone downhill in many ways. And these are some of the things that we've inherited and some of the things that we're trying to improve. And I want you to know I do appreciate you taking on this small role of helping clean up your folks' property. That will also have a positive effect on the city and the neighborhood. So it was nice to hear you recognize that we have had some problems and we have slipped in our appearance, and I do appreciate you being willing to step up and help not only your folks but help the city as well. So having said that, our original conversation on Monday, you had indicated that you thought you could get the whole place cleaned up by next Thursday, which would be the 23rd.
Yes, sir.
Now I'm hearing that it may not quite be the 23rd. Is that right?
Actually, sir, I have some questions, if at all possible.
Okay, I will limit your questions. If you have some, we can have this exchange right now, but it has to be focused on 1728 Michigan Avenue, how we're going to address the problem and how we're going to get it finally cleaned up once and for all.
Mr. Mayor, with all due respect, I will do what I can. I'm 41 years old. I have my brother here. He's about 5 years younger than I am. We will do everything that we can to try to take care of this problem. That you'll have my guarantee on. As per our conversation on Monday, you had advised me to come to this meeting today
Yes.
with a humble heart.
Yes.
I took that advice on Tuesday morning, and I tried to contact the building commissioner with a humble guidance. I was told that he despised being interrupted after he had interrupted me 3 times for just asking him to come out and say, what would you like to be done specifically right now for me to make progress?
Okay.
And then I was hung up on.
Okay.
Ms. Armstrong, thank you kindly for your help this last week.
You're welcome.
It was a privilege to have met your acquaintance. I will do what I can, but I can only do as much as I can be allowed to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remain, as per your guidance, as a humble heart.
Mm-hmm.
I have a degree of difficulty in trying to understand the concept of the entire situation as to hand. 1728 Michigan Avenue is a problem. I will do what I can for that problem.
Mm-hmm.
But 1728 Michigan Avenue is only a small problem, as per our discussion we had on Monday. And I'm not trying to say, oh, well, this is this and that's the other, and look at all these other places. What I'm trying to say is there has to be a standard across the board.
There is a standard, and we inherited a situation 8 months ago, and honestly, the city had been neglected. We hadn't followed through on as many things as we could have, and we have made a valiant effort to try to get properties cleaned up, not only in one neighborhood, but across the city. And we have to have a starting point. And the starting point was 1728 Michigan Avenue. We're aware of some other problems in the neighborhood, if that's where you're going, and we are addressing those. If you understood the problems that we've had in cleaning up one property, you would understand that we just cannot do 350 properties in 1 week. We can't. We start with one. We will address the others. I think I know where you're going. Today we're talking about 1728 Michigan Avenue, and we have a very, very thick file on 1728 Michigan Avenue. I respect the fact that you've been on the other side of the country and aren't really up to speed on what we've been dealing with here. In March or April of this year, I had a guarantee from the owners of the property that it would be cleaned up, finished within 2 weeks. And here we are 6 months later, and we're still talking, having this conversation. And it's not going to continue for another 2 weeks. We need to make some progress one way or another. I'm out of respect for you and your service to the country, I want to work with you. I'm more than willing to give you some more time, but I want a drop-dead date that it will be completed. That's as fair as I can be. We're 8 months into it since I've been here, and I would venture to say that this problem has existed for 8 years. I don't know what the final date is. I'm not sure if they brought the entire file with them today or not, but it's time.
If I may ask a question, sir.
If you would state your name and address for the record.
David Quigney, 1500 Miles Street.
Okay.
And this is in regard to 1720 Michigan Avenue.
Okay.
I have been a longtime resident of Logansport, and I have been here for multiple seasons with this property. And I know there was an issue with the 2 storage sheds. That was taken care of.
No, it wasn't taken care of. The storage shed was torn down, but the contents of the storage shed were then placed on the outside of the building, which creates yet another problem. It just shifted the problem from the storage shed to exposed contents of the storage shed.
Unfortunately, sir, with all due respect, that was an interruption. I had not finished my thought, but I digress. The storage sheds were removed, and as far as I know, and from the letter that I had seen, it did not mention contents of the storage sheds, but it mentioned the storage sheds themselves. And all that my brother and myself have been asking for is, clarification as to what is the city looking for, what exactly needs to be done. And there have been multiple attempts at improving the property, and with each attempt comes a new letter. My brother and I did spend Tuesday, and we did, I would say, a large amount of improving upon the property, and yet we are still here, and we do not still know exactly what the city is looking for.
Okay.
If we can get some clarification as to what the city is looking for, it might be easier to set a hard date as to when this improvement takes place.
The hard date will be set. We set it for today, and we're more than willing to help you get this project finished. I witnessed with my own eyes last week the code enforcement officer step through those doors with the owners of the property and tell them what was required, what was going to be expected of them. If there's a communication problem, I'm sorry about that, but it doesn't change the fact that we're going to clean the property up. We have been over backwards to work with you. We're still willing to give you even more time if we're seeing progress, and if we have a drop-dead date to say it will be finished.
Have you seen the property as after Tuesday?
I understand that there's been some improvements, and that is part of the reason that we're willing to go along with this, to give you even more time. But it's not going to be another 8 months.
Did you or did you not see the property after Tuesday?
I saw pictures of the property. I did not drive up there.
Have any of the improvements you wanted done been made?
Some have.
I just wanted to be sure that
Absolutely.
progress has been made and no
Progress has been made, but not enough.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Stan, yes, you may, but we're about to wrap it up.
my first question, Mr. Mayor, is this. What's next? I've been here for 4 days. I have dealt with your brother, sir. I've been hung up on as a sign of disrespect.
Okay.
Okay? Number two, what reprisal is going to come out of this meeting? You and I had a conversation on Monday, sir.
Yes.
We did have a conversation, which I thought was a very good discussion.
Yes.
I'm quite certain there are comments that you made during that meeting, sir, that you do not want repeated on public.
You can re-say anything you want to right now. I have nothing to hide. Say it.
Are you absolutely certain?
I'm absolutely certain.
Okay, sir. When I asked you the question, sir, what happened to this town? First thing you did, sir, was accuse the last administration. The second thing that I did, I asked you, what kind of employment opportunities are in this town? And the very first thing you said was, the Mexicans came in and they have no idea of our culture. We didn't act on it soon enough. They come out, they throw their mattresses out. Sir, I have served with Hispanic Americans.
You're confusing two different conversations.
No, sir, I'm not confusing.
Yes, you are. All right, here we go. Are you finished? Do you have anything else you'd like to add about 1728 Michigan Avenue?
I guess I do not, sir, because I haven't.
Okay.
I don't believe that.
Today is the 16th. The 23rd, we will order you back here, have it cleaned up. If you're not, we will absolutely execute our right to clean the property up at 9 a.m. on August 23rd. Is there anything else we need to talk about?
I would like to submit to the town this command coin.
Thank you. If you would submit that to the clerk treasurer, we would appreciate it. Thank you.
Do I have any reason to be here anymore?
If it's not cleaned up on August 23rd, no.
Excuse, sir?
It's free country.
Is it?
Your Honor, if I could make just one quick comment for the record.
Please.
If I can make just one quick comment for the record for clarification, I did personally meet with Mr. and Mrs. Quigney on the next day, Friday, after the Board of Works last week. I was there for about 20 minutes. I personally walked them through and around the yard and pointed out each and every item and each and everything that needed to be taken care of for the property. Mr. and Mrs. Quigney were aware of it per that conversation. And also for the record, you had mentioned that I did bring the file, and we have some 200 plus pictures and letters and pictures dating back to August 20th of 1992. So this has been an ongoing problem for 20 years. I just want to get that in the record.
Thank you. No, I'm sorry, conversation's over. You have till next Thursday. Next, Mr. Tom Harold, 1 General Street. Hi, good morning.
Morning, Mayor.
How are you?
Fine. Our correct address is 1221 Apple Tree, APPLE.
I did note that again.
Okay, all right. Have you had a chance to go by the property and review what we discussed last week?
I have. I went past about 9 o'clock last night, and I do see that you've made some effort, and I appreciate that. Did you hire somebody to clean the fence?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we have some laborers that do contract work for us. So.
Okay. I noticed that the fence has been cleaned out, but the rubber, the debris, the limbs are stacked between the curb and the sidewalk.
Yeah, is that?
That's your
something the city can
responsibility.
take? It's ours?
Yeah, that's your responsibility. If it's a contractor that does it, it's the responsibility of the contractor to remove it also.
Okay, I'll get hold of them today, and hopefully it can be taken care of within the next couple days. They may just bring some trucks in or whatever it takes to remove that. It'll take a couple days.
Okay.
I went by there earlier today, and we had them clean out the lot itself, any of the weeds on the asphalt, go around the outside. The far east end, along that fence row, we couldn't get to those trees. Those are on the other property, on the outside of our property, on that fence in between 1 General Street property and the residence there.
Did you check with the residents? Did they object to you entering the property? Because I sure get a lot of calls from them. I can't believe that they would let you. I'm not challenging what you're telling me. I just wonder if there was an attempt or if there was nobody home.
I didn't, and I don't think our guys went up and
Our zoning requirements here require the fence to be set back at least 2 feet. Some of them are even more than that, depending on when the fence was constructed. There's oftentimes a 10-foot setback for the fence. So in all likelihood, the fence is still on your property. The fence has to be set back from the property line. I would ask you to check that, and then also knock on the doors. Like I said, the neighbors are very eager to get this cleaned up, and if there's an objection from the neighbors, I'd like to know about it.
look, see, I think there's only about a foot or two space in between that fence and that home.
Okay. And that may be the old setback.
So I can measure it and look, but or send somebody over there and measure it and look and see. But I'd say less than 2 feet from that fence. It may be that the fence encroaches on their property. I'm not saying one way or the other because I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll investigate.
I have been talking with, and this goes into the property itself, and you asked me for a plan, and we've trying to put some things together here that look at what can be done with the property. We're getting quotes from a company that comes in and grinds up and hauls off that concrete. Talked with them last week after our meeting, and they said they'd get with me and get somebody to come out and take a look at what the process would take. So we're headed in that direction on that. We're also.
Do you have a time frame when they're going to get back with you?
They said the guy was on vacation last week, so hopefully this week.
Do you have any idea when the work would be completed? That's end game here. That's what we're looking for. Honestly, estimates are great. There's a lot of ways that we could get rid of that. We could grind it up, or we could just haul it out in the larger pieces. But we're looking for end game here. It's
Sure.
The results what we're looking for, not the method.
Okay, well, I'll call them and see what their time frame is of getting up and getting a quote on it. I would request them to give me some type of response within a week.
Okay.
Okay.
And a completion date when they could do it?
I'll ask them when they can do that too.
Okay.
We're also still trying to find contractors for use of the block. I'm going to meet with one over the weekend, see if he has a project that requires a large amount of hard fill.
Mhm.
They can come on and take the debris. And we're also looking for grants for development, and I'd like to work with you on that, see if there's any funds available for housing, mixed use. I'd like to also find out if there's any type of service organization or a church group that would be interested in buying the property when we put it on the market for sale. Some type of redevelopment. I don't know if anything from the state. We looked into it last year, but there wasn't any funds available for housing in this area. There may be some coming up soon. I'm not sure when that program rolls over into the following year. I don't know if it's an annually thing or what the setup is there. We'd also like to look with any type of church organization that would be looking for a larger campus area that they could put a building on. They're going to come back to put the property up for sale and work with the city and see if the city has any use for the property.
I appreciate everything that you're telling us there. I certainly hope that we find a productive use for the property. In the meantime, I think what we're talking about there is a long-term goal, and what the city is talking about here is a short-term goal of having the property cleaned once and for all and finally removed of the block, and the rest of the vegetation that's grown up in the fence, the dead trees that are inside the property as well. Those are all things that aren't going to take place until the sale is very unlikely to take place until those things are addressed.
To one point, the tree that's inside the property, there is a limb that got taken out, probably 3 or 4 months ago during a storm. The tree's not dead.
Probably 3 or 4 years ago. It's been down for a long, long time. It's been more than months. Towards the east end of the property, towards Ottawa.
Yeah, inside the fence.
Yeah, been down for a long time. Much longer than 3 or 4 months.
Back to the original question, what's the timeline on this thing? Would like to get rid of the stone with a contractor. And I'm looking at a 4 to 6 month period to
No.
get rid of it. Well,
No. I'm sorry, 4 to 6 months is not going to work. I've been mayor since January, and that pile of rubble has been there since nearly January, since probably February, maybe March. It's just simply not enough. The building was sold. You still own the property. Whoever bought the building bought those concrete block as well. And I'm not sure what the terms of the deal was that you reached with the person who bought the building, but the city can't intervene in that, but we can order the property cleaned up. And 4 to 6 months is not satisfactory, and 4 to 6 weeks is really going to be pushing it. I'm giving you plenty of opportunity to make progress on it, but quite honestly, 4 to 6 months is not going to work.
Well, you asked me for a plan, and that's my plan.
Well, we ask you for the plan for a reason, and that reason is to make sure that it fits the city's timeline as well.
Sure.
And, honestly, I've said it before, those neighbors deserve more. They deserve better. And I doubt if across the street from your home looks like that. I don't think you would accept that, and I don't expect the neighbors to accept that over there.
Well, I'd like to work with you on this, but
I feel that we have.
Just like the people that were here before it, what I understood that you've been working with them for the last 6 months on trying to get some debris picked up in their yard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking for a larger project, and my timeline seems to be a lot shorter.
Well, I can remember the first conversation I had with you was probably 4 months ago on a telephone call, and absolutely nothing has been done since that original conversation. Nothing.
We may have boned, but once or twice during that period of time, but a little, not much of it. to answer your question. So in order for us to resolve the issue with the demo company, find a use for the block, find a use for the property, I'm requesting a 6-month period.
6 months just isn't going to work. This is August. That's going to put us into the middle of the winter, and we need something faster than that. I have contractors available here. I can give you their numbers, and I'm sure they can have that stuff cleaned up within a 2-week period.
Well, the funds aren't available to remove that type of material from a general contractor that wants to charge for it.
Did the general contractor buy the building?
Bought the building, and we've got some issues there with,
He bought the building. He bought the blocks.
correct.
We need them hauled away. That's not asking for too much. That's not asking for too much. We're trying to be extremely, extremely fair with you, and I'm asking you to position yourself where we're coming from and understand that it's not acceptable to abandon the property and leave it in the condition it is. It's just not acceptable, and the neighbors deserve better.
I'm trying to work on a timeline here and be a realistic timeline. I don't want to sit here and come back in a month from now and say, well, I need another month, I need another month, I need another month. I'm working at a realistic timeline to sell the property, remove the block in a reasonable fashion, rather than just coming in and having somebody at full cost do the process.
And the block has been there since February. It's not like you learned of this last week.
I got my notice
I-
3 weeks ago.
You may have, you've received the written notice.
Yes.
I have no doubt about it. Are you telling me that you weren't aware that the block were there in February? When the building was finished, when the building was scrapped and sold?
I didn't see the building until April or May.
Okay. Worst case scenario, we've had June, July, and we're nearly through August. And you're just now getting estimates on grinding the block and haul it away.
That's correct.
Okay. Does that seem reasonable? Do you think that
Well, I'm going off of the timeline when I got the notice,
Mhm.
okay? Till today's date has been about 3 weeks, and I'm trying to find a realistic timeline as to getting the problem solved. It's zoned industrial. If we'd have an industrial user come in, that'd be wonderful.
it would be wonderful? But regardless, if an industrial prospect comes in and wants the property, it's going to have to be cleaned. And that's where we're at.
Would the city have any interest in the property?
Not at this time. Maybe if it gets cleaned up, there may be some interest in it, but that's where we're at. 6 months is not being reasonable. 4 months is not being reasonable.
Well, you asked me for a timeline. That's where I'm at.
When are you scheduled to talk to the contractors on grinding?
Met with them last week, and that guy was on vacation, and hopefully he's back this week trying to get caught up on what he missed. I'll be in contact with him today and see when he can come up and give an estimate.
Okay. Do you think that I could also be present when you meet with him?
Sure.
Okay. I would love to do that. I would love to hear from him what his time frame is.
Okay.
I want to work with you. I honestly do. And I appreciate the predicament that you're in having the property there and all the bad things that go with it. But at the same time, we have a responsibility, not only to that neighborhood, but to the whole city, to make sure that we don't allow things like this to take place. And we do have to stay on top of it. I want to work with you, but I also have to see some progress. And, you know, we're going to demand it. It's as simple as that. And 4 months is not acceptable, 6 months is not acceptable. We're going to see it a lot sooner than that. I'm willing to give you, let's say, another couple weeks. Can we do that? That'll give you a chance to meet with the contractor, a chance with me to meet with the contractor, and to see what timeline he has in place, what he thinks he can do. 'Cause I have no doubt that I could call contractors today and have that place cleaned up they could start work on it tomorrow. And in the end, that's what we're looking for, is the end game, the result, to get the property cleaned up.
Well, I'll do this. I will get hold of the contractor today. You tell me when you're available next week, and I'll make arrangements with him. We'll meet, we'll go over the property, and go from there.
Okay. If you would, I'd like to get your phone number before you leave so that I can, you
Yeah.
have a cell phone that I
Sure.
can reach you? Okay.
You want it now?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
765-438-0649.
Okay. I'll give you a call sometime today.
Okay?
All right. Thank you very much. Under new business, Aaron Shaver. Hey, Aaron.
Hello. Our safe routes to school around the, make sure I say it right, Franklin area and Columbia area has let. And so now what we're working on is the inspection contract with Green 3 so that the Leo Brown Construction, who got the bid, can start work on that. So this contract that we're looking at today is for $26,692.20. With the Safe Routes to School, it's 100% reimbursable. We're still under budget and even have some wiggle room, so there shouldn't be any worries about the cost. It will come all from federal funding. It's just a contract between the city and the inspector.
So how does that work? Does the city reimburse, or does the
The
city pay and then gets
the
reimbursed?
state reimburses with the money that we were awarded. This is a $250,000 project.
Okay. This is the second Safe Routes to School project for the city?
This is the first one. We actually have one in Walton as well. So
Okay.
you hear me talking about it, it's because I work with Walton as well. So
Okay, so you need action on approving the consulting contract.
correct.
I'd make the motion that we approve the contract as presented.
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion or any questions? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes on a vote of 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Jay Rodriguez. Morning, Jay. You would
How you
state
doing?
your name and address, please?
Sure. Jason Rodriguez with Ferris Tribune, 517 Broadway. Wanted to address the new media policy that was adopted, or that was created by the Logansport Police Department. I commend the police department in creating a media policy that sets expectations and standards for communication with the media and with the public. I did want to express a concern about a part of that policy that denies or limits access, denies access over the weekends. For years, the media has had access to reports over Saturday and Sunday to deliver information to the public. This new media policy limits the access to those reports between the times of 8:30 and 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Our concern is, although the law does allow this, our concern is if an incident occurs Thursday night at 5 o'clock, Indiana law does allow a police officer to take up to 24 hours to create a report and hence provide it to the public, which would make it Friday at 5 o'clock when that would be available by law. So without having access to any of those reports over the weekend, something could happen Thursday night at 5, and our public that may not have access to it to a computer would not hear about it until Tuesday morning. Something that comes to mind would be kind of a rash of burglaries or shots fired in the homes, or something that recently has been happening. So we feel that portion of the media policy, we'd like just at least to be reconsidered, reviewed, possibly understand why that policy has been put in place. Now, this isn't the first avenue that we took, or that I wanted to take. We had spoken with Senator Head to meet about 2 weeks ago. We wanted to sit down with Senator Head and Police Chief Clark to talk about this and talk about some other information that is currently being provided to the public. So it's I'm sure schedules are hard to come together, but we did also file a formal complaint with the public access counselor, state of Indiana, just due to the amount of information, the lack of information that we're receiving currently for police reports.
Have you heard back?
September 10th is when they are set to come back on that. Our attorney through the Hoosier State Press Association and the public access counselor have kind of gone back and forth, and I did see those emails yesterday. Kind of talked about a couple of case studies that show kind of both sides. We understand that it shows basically both sides, for both the media and for the police department. So it'll be interesting. It's an advisory. It's not a binding opinion, but so that's why I figured I'd come to the Board of Works to to see if just that portion would just be considered. It's more of a disservice, I feel, to the public by not having that information available in case there are things that that do happen over the weekend, and our readers don't get anything until Monday, or Bob's listeners don't get anything till Monday. So
Okay. I'm going to ask the city attorney for comment on this, but I do also want to at least make the comment that it's my understanding through some Indiana code that I've read someplace over the last 20 years, but the chief of police is in charge of the day-to-day operations of the police department. And ultimately, this decision falls into the realm of the responsibilities of the chief of police and not necessarily the Board of Works. Chief Clark and I have had these philosophical conversations before. The only thing that I could say that I want to make sure from the standpoint of the city is that we are compliant with the law, whatever that ruling is. So if you hear back from the public access counselor and there's some belief there that we're doing something improper, we will certainly comply. Having said that, I would defer to the city attorney now to see if you have additional comment.
Police chief handed me a copy of the media policy some time ago for me to review. I did that to look at it to see whether or not I thought it was legal. I think we made some tweaks to it. And then it was issued. As far as the weekend media policy goes, I checked with the public access council after that went into play to make sure that it was legal. And like you said, they give an advisory opinion. It's not the end all be all. It's not like going to the Supreme Court and having to declare what the law is and what isn't. They went to great pains to explain that to me. But they said they felt like the law said that the access has to be available during regular hours. And what are the regular hours of a police department? The police department's open 24 hours a day. What are the regular business hours? I think that's the legal term that's being used. They said they felt like limiting access from 8:30 to 4 Monday through Friday was the regular business hours, and that we were okay to do that. That it wasn't breaking the law to say we're not going to give access to reports that happen, reports that become available Saturday or Sunday. I wasn't aware that you still wanted to meet with me. I did have a conversation, I think it was with Kelly Hall a couple of weeks ago. That sounds about right. He asked for a meeting. But there have been several phone calls back and forth between Mr. Hawes and I on this issue, and I thought that problems had been addressed. I understand that they were not addressed to your satisfaction. And Mr. Hawes was very clear he still wanted access on the weekends, like you said. The police department's decision was not to do that. So I know that we were at an impasse there. I guess I didn't realize that a formal complaint had been filed, so I'll contact the public access counselor and try and get in the loop and see what they have to say.
I guess the bottom line is, I'll echo what you said, Mr. Mayor, is that the law is clear. If there's room for interpretation, we'll get guidance from the Public Access Council, and we will give the media access absolutely to everything to which they are entitled. And that's how we move. We've tried to change the format of the daily log, which is something the media has access to by law, and we try to change it so that they have access to everything that's listed in the statute that they have. I guess that they are entitled to. At first, I know that the daily log didn't give you every single thing that was on the list in the statute that you were supposed to get, and I worked with Chief Clark to make those changes. So I think, like you said, Mr. Mayor, the bottom line is we will comply with the law regardless of what the law says.
Absolutely. That would be our full intent. All right. Thank you, Jay. Not necessary. You can. I'm sorry. Chief, you want to make it part of your regular comments?
This policy was, like Senator had said, was reviewed by him and adopted by our department. It is in accordance. I don't understand why it's such an issue with the Logansport Police Department when 6 blocks away it's okay for the Cass County Sheriff's Department. They do not have access on the weekends. Monday morning their staff runs a log just like we're doing now. Our County Sheriff's Department does exactly the same thing. I have copies from them. That's their sister paper. It's okay for them. I have a duty to provide security for victims and for my officers, and I think that takes priority over selling newspapers. They will get the minimum that's required by law. If there's any, I have appointed a public information officer for our department. If there's anything major that happens on the weekends, the media will be called. I feel at first, the first day that we implemented this policy, I'll admit there were a few items that were required that they were made available to, and we've corrected the problem, and I believe we're right on target. So I'd just like to add that.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Anthony Cazzello, Revolution Community Church. I don't see Anthony here. Is there anybody representing Anthony? Okay. Anthony has a request before the Board of Works that on Sunday, August 26th, his church is going to be holding an outdoor service and community outreach program from 9:30 a.m. till 2 p.m. and they would like to ask for an exception to the noise ordinance. This is what's required by our ordinance, approval from Board of Works. I certainly have no objection to it. I know Anthony, and I know he's quite accommodating. I just feel if there's a complaint that Anthony will take care of it in the right way. So I would make the motion to approve the request from the Revolution Community Church to hold an outdoor service and to grant the exception to the noise ordinance for the times asked for, 9:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. on August 26th.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote on the request from Anthony Cazzello, the Revolution Community Church. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed. Passes on a vote of 3-0. Reports from the Acting Building Commissioner. Deb.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I ordered 4 properties to appear this week, and I'll get back to them in just a second. I did 8 permits with a construction value of $218,160, and I did 2 contractor registrations. On the order to appear, 1224 Spear Street was a burnout. It's Joe Dunn's property. I touched base with him a couple weeks ago, and I asked him to get me a plan of action. He has not done that yet. I'll have to run him down to get it, but he wanted to get the one on Broadway finished first before he started the one on Spear Street. So you guys have pictures. You can see how bad it looks. So I'll try to get him pinned down on what he's going to do on that. And the other one that did not show up is 207 West Miami, and it's a chimney that's pulling away from the house. And not real sure what you want me to do with that. They're gonna have to fix it, but like I say, they didn't appear, so I'm not sure.
Is
what
the house
route-
occupied?
Huh?
Is the house occupied?
Yes.
Okay, did anybody show that you did order?
Yes. 221 West Miami, Mr. Acosta, you want to come up? I didn't think he was going to come, but he's here, so I'll let you talk to him.
Hi. State your name.
You know when, I don't know too many speak English here later. You know what coming for me for the somebody two other papers for my house. This me buy the house. You know when a possession for the garage and the roof of my house.
Do you know when you plan to put the roof on the garage?
Yeah.
When?
You know, I think more roof in my garage. Maybe 1 month. I don't
1
know.
month?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
1 month. All right. Deb, can you keep an eye on this and advise us in 1 month if it's finished or not? Okay, and what was your name again?
Lorenzo Acosta Pedrosa.
Luez?
Lorenzo.
Lorenzo, okay, Lorenzo, there it is. Well, thank you, Lorenzo, for showing up today. We look forward to working with you, and thank you for investing in Logansport
Yeah.
and for putting the garage, or the roof on the garage.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you very much. We'll see you in 1 month.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
All right. Oh, thank you.
Just get out of there. Thank you.
The other property I ordered was 217, 219, 12th Street, and they are here, I believe.
Okay.
To give you a little bit of history on this, they came in February to pull a permit to replace the roof and the stucco and tear off the back stairway and repair the front porch. They ended up tearing the front porch totally off, and then nothing has been done. And we have gaping holes in the front and broken windows and things like that.
Okay. Thank you for being here. Can you state your name and address for the record?
My name is Coral Borseno, and the address is 1128 Broadway.
Okay, 1128 Broadway. You own this house?
Okay, the house is under my son's name, but I have a legal paper saying that I have the...
Power of attorney?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. That's here.
Okay. You have that letter?
Yeah.
Can I see it?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay.
I have a, well, we are gonna trespass the house, so I have to do that paper before.
You're
So
going to do what with the house?
Like, sell the house.
Sell the house?
Yeah. And we went to the deed company
Uh-huh.
or title company, and they asked me for that paper. So we working on the paper, and I receive it, and we have the papers with the title company. And then we have plans on the house. We are supposed to be, well, they, because it's gonna be their house. Okay. We have the permit to fix the porch and roof.
When do you plan to fix the porch and roof?
Wait, let me explain you
Okay,
something.
okay.
Well, my name is Andres Rodriguez, and we're trying to work on the property. The thing is that we had the permit to fix the roof and the front porch, but we were trying to fix the porch, but something went wrong and the full porch fell off.
Uh-huh.
So it was against our will, you know. We don't have control of that.
Right.
So after that, we try to clean everything up real fast, as fast as we can, you know. I think it was clean in a day, anything or two. And after that, we have a budget, to fix the roof and the front porch and everything. But when that happened, I mean, the budget went away, and so we start from the bottom. And we're trying to, when the front porch fell off, also the front wall suffered some damage on it.
That one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have to work from the bottom up, try to fix the walls first, then we can get to the roof, because we cannot get to the roof right now.
Uh-huh.
That's the thing.
Are you buying the house, or are you selling the house?
No, they're buying we're buying the house from them.
Okay,
So
So they are the ones who are working in the house.
okay.
But they are not able to go on the porch if they don't put ¿cómo se llama?
fix the walls.
Put supports.
Uh-huh.
Supports.
Okay.
We already have done that. We support the walls.
And the inside.
And the inside, because that's the first time that we have to do before we do something.
Do you have a time frame when you think that you will make significant progress and cover the holes, repair the porch? I have to tell you, I have complaints. Today, I received a letter on this very property
Okay.
and asking me to take action on it because I'm very familiar with it through my years on the fire department. I can recall at least 3 or 4 fires in that house over the years, and it's been a constant source of complaint going back, I'm sure, before you owned it.
I have a question about it. We buy the front house, 1128 East Broadway, maybe 2.5 years ago, and we start paying for 1.5 years, I think. So we have the title last year, but we just buy the front house, and they serve the people from we buy it. They said, well, the back house is yours too. So we have double trouble. We are working in the front house. You can see the difference now. From 1 year, we are trying to working in the house, and now they are working in the back house. And I think this is a good thing because these houses are completely in a real big damage. So we are working on it. I know we are slow, but we don't have the budget to do it fast.
Do you have any idea how much money you plan to spend to fix this, to repair this house? It's going to take a lot of money.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Do you have that kind of money? Do you have a bank that's going to lend you money for the house?
We're trying to get a bank to give us a loan,
Uh-huh.
But we're working on it. Right now, we're waiting for the title and all that to get about some money from the bank or something,
Mm-hmm.
So we're working on it right now.
Which bank are you working with?
My wife is with PNC Bank.
PNC Bank?
Yeah. So
Okay. Do you know when you will have a response from the bank? When will they tell you if your loan is approved?
no, I haven't talked to my.
Have you filled out the paperwork with the bank yet? She has?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's usually fairly quickly. It's a fairly quick turnaround when you apply for a loan. They let you know within usually a couple weeks at the outside. So if we have you come back here in 2 weeks, you should have your financing secured. Honestly, I doubt that a bank is going to loan money on this house. Ron has an extensive background in banking, and he knows what they look for, and this does not fit the mold.
They probably don't go to the bank to get money from the house. Maybe they are gonna work on something else, no asking to the bank to get money for the house, because I know the house is not
Yeah, I'm questioning whether anybody will loan money on the house, and then again, how much money is it going to take to fix the house? I would like to see a budget, how much money you think it's going to cost to fix the house, so that you realize what you're getting into. It's going to take a lot of money, and it's going to take some time if you do the work yourself. We're willing to work with you, but honestly, Deb, is this house one of them that's on our demo list. This house is scheduled to be demolished by the city very soon. If you want to try to save the house, I would suggest that you act very quickly, get your money, make sure that you have enough money to fix it, and bring a plan back within 2 weeks.
Because I have like a plan here, but if you want to like wait until 2 weeks,
Can you present the plan? Can you give it to Deb? There you go. Deb, can you tell us what the plan says? Is there a timeline on the plan?
I'd say about 6 months for the outside to do the roof, the front porch, and the stucco. And then they're gonna work on the inside, which will be another 6 to 8 months.
What do you think? I would defer to the board for comment. You've looked at the pictures and you see the condition of the house. You think it's doable? What's your recommendation? A couple weeks to get the financing in place and
Well,
see how serious we are?
Yeah, a couple weeks to see if they can get financing. I just don't think that's reasonable to repair. That building, that house looks way past salvaging. But won't we give you a couple weeks if you see where the money comes from? And I think you'll find it's going to take a whole lot more money to do that. That thing's crumbling down around itself. And it's going to take a fortune just to stabilize it so you can work on it.
So let's say 3 weeks. We'll give you 3 weeks to have your financing in place so that you can show that there is a commitment to get the job done. We have to make some progress on it. I know that this is a constant source of complaints to the city, and honestly, those neighbors deserve better as well.
yeah. And we closed the doors and a couple windows with plywood last week.
Okay.
So we are like trying to,
Yeah.
not that doing a big progress, but we are doing something in the house.
Okay. We'll see you back in 3 weeks.
Can I tell you a big, small comment?
No, you can comment.
Okay. I hear like in the first people who comes here, and they said then something happened with the city when the Mexicans come.
The first person that was up
Yeah,
here, yes.
And like, I don't want to be like rude or something like that.
No, please, I understand.
But we are not just Mexicans.
Absolutely.
Like it's different other countries,
That's
and like Honduras, Guatemala, and different. So this is something that make us like sad.
Yes.
'Cause not every people are Mexican,
Absolutely.
or not all the people are bad people.
Mhm.
We are trying to help, and we are trying to like help the city, because we live here and we love the city. I have like 16 years living here,
Mm-hmm.
and we are not all the same. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. And I would also
I'm sorry,
like
but
to,
I have to say this.
No, you're fine. And I want you to know, I don't deny having a conversation with the gentleman that was here first. What I did say to him is that when the new cultures come to Logansport, they don't understand our culture, and that we have to educate them to teach them our standards. Not everybody that comes to Logansport knows our standard, and some of them believe that it's okay to set a mattress out against the side of the house and leave it there for 6 months, and it's simply not acceptable. And that is the point that I made to the gentleman that was here earlier, and in no way did I mean that to be insulting to your culture. It's what we're trying to teach when they arrive here. You just don't know.
Yeah.
And we try. We do it oftentimes through information that we provide through our Chamber of Commerce and through different agencies like that.
I understand that point.
Yeah, but we're just trying to educate so that we're all on the same page, and that's all it is. And I do appreciate you being here. I want to work with you, and I look forward to seeing you back in 3 weeks. I wish you success in gaining financing in order to repair the home.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
That's it? Okay.
I make a motion to approve Deb's report.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the report signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. It passes on a vote of 3-0. Code Enforcement Officer.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You have in front of you my weekly report with the numbers on it. You have any questions?
Looks pretty plain to me. Thank you for your efforts, especially with regard to 1728 Michigan Avenue. Thank you for bringing the report that shows that we've been dealing with this for 20 years. I thought the one on Broadway was one of the longest at 17 years, but this one goes back 20. Good work.
Thank you.
Any questions for George? I make the motion to accept the Code Enforcement Officer's report. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion or questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Passes on a vote of 3-0. Thank you, George.
Thank you.
Superintendent of Public Works, Mr. Williams.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I respectfully submit the report for the Public Works Department, which includes Mount Hope Cemetery and Logansport Street Department. If you have time to thumb through, you can tell that we are very busy and continue to make Logansport a better place to live.
Thank you for your report. Can you tell us a little bit about 508 Bates Street this week, what you found there?
I don't really want to get into it, but if you can imagine approximately 30 dirty diapers in the front yard, all kinds of unsanitary, probably one of the most unsanitary cleanups that I've been in charge of. And we'll leave it at that, sir.
And you did clean it up?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. Any questions for Dan?
Yeah, what was the nature of the hole in the farmer's market lot?
It was like a sinkhole. I don't know, someone sabotaging it or what. But one day it's there, and one day it just appeared. But we took care of it.
Questions for Dan?
I'd make a motion to accept that.
Before we do, I would like to ask Bob Bernhardt to come up as well. Bob is with the Department of Public Works, also works at the cemetery and has for, about 20 years now, Bob?
23.
23?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I want to share with you a letter that I received yesterday. Dear Mayor Franklin, recently my wife and I traveled to Indiana for the purpose of checking on several of my family plots, including those of the Moriartys and the Moriartys in Mount Hope. We were quite restricted on time and could not arrive at Mount Hope until just after 4 o'clock. However, the staff at Mount Hope, specifically Mr. Dan Williams and Mr. Bob Bernhardt, were kind enough to stay after hours and escort us to my great-aunt Fanny Logan and great-uncle George Moriarty's graves, and also show us the Moriarty great-aunt Eliza and great-uncle Michael section. Both individuals who assisted us are to be commended for their dedication, thoughtfulness, and courtesy. And I have enclosed a small gift to help keep the cemetery that watches over the remains of part of my much-beloved family. Sincerely, Robert Merrifield White, Senior, PhD, from Durham, North Carolina. And don't tear that, it's the most important part. Anyway, Mr. Moriarty sent a check for $100 to help cover the cost of maintenance. And I want you guys to know that I get these calls or emails on a regular basis, especially you two. And this is the first time I've received anything like this, especially a donation. But they went above and beyond because you went above and beyond. And I want to recognize you for it and thank you for it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Now I'd make a motion to accept it.
Second. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the report signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Passes on a vote of 3-0. Police Chief Clark. Let's see you top that one.
Can't do it. Good morning. I don't have a lot to offer this week. staying busy, or things are running smoothly. The only thing I have to add would our 2 new probationary officers started at the Police Academy playing field this Monday. They'll be there till the end of 16 weeks, and then we'll have them back. So other than that, I have nothing to offer. Everything's running smoothly.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I make the motion to approve the chief's report as presented. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, pass on vote of 3-0. Fire Chief Strong.
Good morning. I submitted my report for the month of July. There, if you have any questions on that. Also presented a grant that we received from FM Global, which is an insurance company type organization, and anyway, we received a fire prevention grant for $1,263, which they presented to us this last week, and it goes to the arson investigator. Jason Miller applied for that, and he's going to use those proceeds for arson investigation. To buy one thing he wants to buy is a new camera that he needs desperately, and then we'll put the other camera that he's been using on Rescue 6, so if he's on vacation or something, the guys we use our cell phones a lot to try to take pictures if he's not around. So this will be a great addition to the department, and I sure appreciate him going the extra mile to get the grant. I have 2 applicants right now that's down at Empress. I was hoping that they would be back. I've had the hardest time getting the one applicant I've been working on since May to get hired, and it's been the hardest time I've had. I'm hoping to be here next Thursday to hire 2 new firemen to replace Joe Rosie and Brad Helvey. So hopefully, knock on wood, I will be there, even though that's fake wood. We did have a small fire this week at 919 North Street, and the guys did a great job. A little girl, her mother had lit a candle, and then went in to make dinner, and within 10 minutes something happened with the candle. I don't know if it broke, if the cat knocked it over, or what happened, but anyway, the candle started a fire, caught the curtains on fire, and the little girl's the one that found it, went in and told her mom, and so it was, we were able to put the fire out, which honestly did a lot of damage to the living room. I mean, it broke a window, it got so hot, but we were able to put it out with a water fire extinguisher. But the little girl came down to the station last night. The guys, was really proud of her for reporting it to her mother, and they had some balloons for her and some stuff from Sycamore and stuff like that, so it was really nice. But
Okay, thank you very much. I make the motion to approve the chief's report as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. Board member comments?
Thank you.
None.
None. Visitor comments? Hearing none. Miscellaneous business, including matters not already considered? None. We're adjourned.